Hi guys, this is Zenith Roman. Just watching a video here of throwing some bucktails on the south shore of Long Island last spring. I wanted to show you a few things here, mostly when it comes to retrieval of bucktail. I know this has been covered in other videos, but usually you don't get a chance to show you exactly how I do it. Before I say that, and I'm sure I'm going to be hooking into the fish fairly shortly here, this has been a fairly good day with big bluefish. Um, Most of the guys, first question would be which rod are you using, which reel are you using. Totally irrelevant thing to me for the most part, but I know those questions always pop up. So I'm using I think a 9'6" Tsunami Airwave Elite rod, pair up with the VS 150, I believe, 30-pound test. As you can see, I'm fishing a jetty. To the left hand side, you can see a rip forming. The water is moving right to left, but there's a backside eddy where I'm fishing, and these fish they want to run with the current around the jetty, so they want to run from right to left. They want to kind of cut me off on these rocks, so I have to muscle them in. And considering these are pretty big bluefish and a 9-foot rod, I was pretty impressed with what this rod did this particular day. I mean, I managed to turn all the fish before they went around the jetty. I believe only one fish I had to go to the tip of the jetty and extend my rod not to get caught up. So basically what I wanted to talk to you about is retrieve. When we're talking about retrieve of a bucktail, people usually feel this very exaggerated motion. If you're looking at my retrieve now, I'm going to let the bucktail sink a little bit first before I start working it. At this point, I'm just letting it sink. You see this slight little tap downwards, about 6 inches? That's about all I'm doing. It's more of downward pressure than it is actually lifting the rod up. It's almost like following the bucktail down and then lifting it, following it down, lifting it, following it down, lifting it. And that makes it puff a little bit instead of having these exaggerated motions. If you bring the rod up, maybe a foot or two, which will pull a bucktail probably 3 or 4 feet off the bottom. So my point here, and if you're looking at it, if you don't take anything else from this video, if you just keep looking at this, you'll see that my rod motion is not exaggerated. It's very, very small movement of the rod. And that's how I always fish. I mean, this is not the only lure that I fish like this, and I'll go into that in a few minutes. Let's just see what's going on here as I'm landing this fish. These fish were all bluefish. They were all somewhere between 8 and 15 pounds. They were spring bluefish. They were all big. The GoPro generally doesn't give you a good sense of how big these fish are with a wide angle camera, but you'll see when I throw back, and the way I'm holding it behind the neck, that these are fairly good fish. What I'm using here is, you can see the fish right there. That looks like a magic tail, yellow bucktail with a pork rind, 36-inch leader, maybe a 40-pound test, and a swivel. Basically, that's my standard rig for fishing the rocks here. Once in a while I'll go with the heavier leader, but for the most part that's what I'm going to stick with it. So you see my hand just went and rubbed against the leader. That's on purpose, to trying to see if the leader has been either shaved or scratched or bitten. So you can get a sense right away how long it's going to last. Let's go through this motion again, because this is like the most important part of the video that I'm trying to illustrate here. You see these little tips as the rod goes down, and it just kind of taps it down a little bit and then lifts it up. That's basically what I'll do with the needlefish. I will do that with a bucktail. I will do that with the shad sometimes. It really depends on the conditions, but that is my kind of motion. Doesn't matter if I fish daytime, nighttime. With rig deals, it's a little bit more pronounced, but with a bucktails and with needlefish in particular, I'd like a slight lift of the rod, but not from the point where your rod is up and you're lifting, you literally you're following the plug down and then lift it. You can see this fish is trying to get me around to the left, and he's trying to get to the corner rocks so he can cut me off, and I'm trying to force it, which, like I said, I was pretty impressed with a 9'6" rod that I was able to muscle this fish back where I wanted to. The tip of the jetty, it's not that bad. It's just a little difficult to land the fish at time, and the rocks that I was on were fairly good. You can see it here. I'm basically catching a fish on every cast. I'm casting it slightly up current. I'm letting it sink a little bit, and then I'm starting to work it. You're probably going to notice, I am pretty sure this is the segment where I'm releasing the fish, and you're going to see again my hand going for the leader and rubbing it. Obviously taking the bucktail out of the fish's mouth takes a little time, and I'm not that good like some people are with the camera and pointing in the right direction. This is just a video that I took for my own use, and I thought it'd be interesting to show you just certain little things that we all do that you might not notice, or if I told you at the seminar, you might not understand what I'm saying. You can see my hand again going to the leader. Here it goes. You see that? I'm rubbing the leader. I wanted to see if the leader is still good. The cast goes up current. And I'm working it by going down about 6 inches and then up slightly. Down 6 inches and up slightly. That's all. There's a bite right there that I missed. And you'll see another one that I missed. And again, beauty of a bucktail is you don't really miss a lot of bumps. And you don't really drop a lot of fish when you hook them. And you know what? Bass or blues, unhooking a fish on a bucktail is probably the most pleasurable experience when it comes to unhooking a fish under any circumstances. So there's just the little things that I want to show you. I mean, you can see this rod's got plenty of balls to muscle these fish, which I was kind of hesitant considering these are big spring bluefish in a pretty wicked current. But I wanted to show you just how small of a movement of a rod is usually necessary to give a really good action to the lure. So here's another maybe half a minute or so left in this video. I'll let you enjoy it. I hope you guys have a great full run, and I hope everybody's catching fish. Till next time.